No nii, läheme tänase sünnipäevaseminariga edasi ja ma palun lavale Imagine'i tegevdirektori ja oma äripartneri Helen Rooneti.
Kõnnib manneke, see kaunis manneke.
Ma loodan, et laul sulle meeldib. Kõigepealt meile saadeti üks sünnipäevakaart. Happy 10. aastapäeva puhul. Kas sa mäletad seda pidu?
Väga ei mäleta, ma pean tunnistama. Võib-olla me olime kõik need klaasid eelnevalt juba ühe korra tühjaks joonud.
See oli Tartu 2005. aasta kuldmuna üritus.
Okei.
Kas sa hommikut mäletad?
Ei mäleta.
Mina mäletan ja paljud mäletavad. Tead, ma pean ühe asja üles tunnistama. See meie seminari ja õhtuse sünnipäevapeo eelarve, et see läks päris lõhki.
Tänane?
Tänan, jah.
No ei ole hullu. Ma arvestan ruttu kõik projekti juhtimisse ja disaini tundidesse ümber.
Hea, et sa nii positiivne oled, sellepärast, et ma mõtlesin juba igaks juhuks nagu variandi välja, et mis edasi saab, et kui nüüd pankrot tuleb, et me läheme sinuga poliitikasse.
Nii.
Sest me oleme ju mõlemad proovinud, kuidas poliitikas läbi lüüa.
Absoluutselt.
Ja kui viimaseid nii-öelda valimisi mäletad, siis sina kandideerisid Reformierakonnas. Eeskujuks oli Arto, mis tee taas plakat, mille põhjal me tegime sulle ilusa kujunduse Helen ei poliitreklaamile Roonet. Ja naljakas oli see, et kui me selle Facebooki postitasime, siis üks meie Facebooki fänn kirjutas, no kas pole irooniline, ise on plakatil ja tahab reklaami keelustada. Minul läks natukene kehvemini, mind pandi Keskerakonna reklaami. Ja mind veel pandi töötuks ka, mis on eriti nagu kehv. Samas mul läks jälle oluliselt paremini, kui läks Sven Mikseril. Tema töötas aastatel, mis iganes Keskerakonnas. Aga räägime asjast ka. Ja viimased 5 aastat on Eesti reklaamitööstus olnud väidetavalt kriisis ja meie oleme selle viimase 5 aasta jooksul 3 korda kasvanud, et on siis kriis või ei ole?
Sõltub, meie jaoks ei ole kriis olnud. Et ma arvan, et kui me vaatame reklaamimaastiku üldiselt, siis ikkagi on ta olnud languses. Et meie peame tegema kõigepealt suure aplausi oma klientidele. Ma arvan, et te olete kõik seda väärt. Et esiteks te olete meisse uskunud, meiega jäänud ja pidanud oluliseks siis oma reklaamitegevusi jätkata. Et ma arvan, et meie klientid on väga targad olnud. Ja enamus, kui me vaatame oma kliente, siis tänu sellele, et nad on olnud ka langusaeg nii-öelda aktiivsed, siis tänu sellele läheb ka neil hästi täna. Ehk kui läheb meie klientidel hästi, siis läheb ka meil hästi.
Palju on räägitud sellest, et Eesti reklaamiagentuurid ei ole nagu rahvusvahelisel tasandil läbi löönud, et sa oled vist äkki 8 aastat järjest või enam-vähem käinud Cannes'i reklaamifestivalil. Ma ei pea silmas nagu seda konkreetselt Cannes'i reklaamifestivali, aga ma pean pigem silmas seda, et miks nagu Eesti agentuuridel ei ole nii-öelda rahvusvahelisi account'e, nagu näiteks on Soome ja Rootsi agentuuridel, kelle käes on näiteks Libero ja sellised suured brändid nii-öelda rahvusvahelisel tasandil?
Ma arvan, et see on erinevad põhjused. Tegelikult on ikkagi Soome meiega võrreldes ju ka ikkagi suur maa. Et esiteks on see, et meil ei ole nii palju inimesigi, kes võiks üks suure account'iga nagu Libero tegeleda. Et üks probleem on kindlasti see, siis nagu võtame üldse, et miks Eesti reklaam ei ole siis jõudnud rahvusvaheliselt väga tunnustatud, kas ongi see, et kui võtame näiteks kuldmuna ja sealsed võidutööd, siis need on väga paljud ei ole rahvusvahelise ideega, vaid nad on hästi lokaalsed. Et nad põhinevad mingil kohalikule huumorile, hästi kohalikule kontekstile, et väga raske on neid adapteerida või neid üldse näidata kuskil mujal. Et ma olen alati nagu seda meelt olnud, et kellel on võimalus rahvusvahelisest läbi lüüa, mitte et ma ei usuks, et Eesti ükskord ja minu kallid creative directorid toovad mulle kuldlõvi Cannes'ist, aga kellel on võimalus läbi lüüa, on Eesti tootjad ehk siis produktsioonifirmad, et meie tase rahvusvahelist on väga hea, meie planning on väga hea, tootmine on odavam üldjuhul. et see on nagu see võimalus. Aga Eesti puhul on juba see, et kui me räägime agentuuridest, siis kohalike brändidega ongi ikkagi kohalik inimene ootab kohalikku nii-öelda konteksti ja kui sa ikkagi lood nii-öelda kohalikul turul ainult ja Libera loob rahvusvaheliselt ikkagi oma kontseptsioone, siis sa ei saagi nagu silma paista, nad ei saa aru lihtsalt su reklaamist.
Aga samas, kui vaadata nagu viimase aja nagu, ütleme kas või Cannes'i festivali, siis ma arvan, viimastel aastatel pärast seda, kui nii-öelda kriis algas, et ei ole enam Grand Prix võitjad, ei ole sellised eepilised teleklipid, nagu oli see kuulus õllereklaam, kaatontroot, piikäed ja nii edasi, et pigem nagu võidavad täiesti teistsugused, on nad siis ükskõik digitaalne, sotsiaalmeedia, sellised ideed, mis on tõeliselt nagu eristuvad, et seal ei ole ju tegelikult raha vaja, seal me saaks nagu ise ka siin väikses Eestis hakkama kas või mõne 1000 euro eest.
Ma arvan, et sellised digikeisid ja spetsiifilised, et tegelikult see on reaalsus, et ühel päeval Eestisse võib siis tulla see kuldlõvi või mõni auhind, aga mis seal on see, et esiteks, me võtame Cannes'i konkreetselt, osalemine, oma töö saatmine siin on väga kallis. Enamustel agentuuridel lihtsalt ei ole seda rahalist võimalust, kui me räägime väikestest sõltumatutest agentuuridest Eestis. Ja teiseks on see, et kui me vaatame ka neid nii-öelda meie jaoks väikseid brände või maailma mastaabis väikseid brände, kes on võitnud, siis see ettevalmistus, kuidas need tööd on presenteeritud, kuidas need asjad on üles ehitatud selleks, et see žürii tähelepanu, et see on, ma arvan, et eelarved on sama palju, kui meil võib-olla see kogu töö eelarve üldse siin kokku. Et ma arvan, et seal väga palju jääbki ikkagi eelarve taha. Lihtsalt meie turul on seda raha nii vähe. Kahjuks.
Lennart Meri kunagi otsis Eesti Nokiat niivõrd kaua, et me ei pannud isegi tähele, et vahepeal oli sündinud Skype ja saanud maailmakuulsaks, et me oleme seda Cannes'i lõvi oodanud Eesti reklaamiturul nii kaua, et ma arvan, et üks päev, kui see nüüd nii-öelda pauk lahti läheb, siis ma arvan, et me paneme ikka soomlastele, rootslastele pika puuga ära. Aga aitäh, Helen. Head sõbrad, Helen Roonet, minu äripartner ja Imagine'i tegevjuht, veel kord mainin seda. Ja me läheme edasi nüüd tänase teise esineja juurde, et ma kutsun siia lavale külalise Šotimaalt, 10 brände maailmas tuntuks teinud Marketing Society asutaja juhi Cream Affa.
Thank you.
Hi.
Thank you.
Take a seat.
Thank you.
Do you like the music?
I like the music, but Julian will serve tea. I presume I'm going to be served whiskey.
Very good idea.
No?
Very good idea.
This is not arranged?
I'm very sorry.
Vodka?
But vodka is a better idea,
Okay.
because whiskey is probably, when I offer you whiskey, it can be maybe Irish and
Yes, a bit early in the morning for me.
it's a bad idea.
Maybe later.
Okay, Cream, you're Scottish, as I said. Do you know, actually it was a surprise for me, do you know what's the official animal of Scotland?
The official animal of Scotland is a cow.
Really?
It's a Highland cow.
You want to see?
I would like to see, yes.
It's unicorn.
I haven't had no whiskey yet.
It's unicorn. It's unicorn.
Is it?
Yes.
Not like any unicorn I've ever seen, even after a few whiskeys. No,
Actually, one more fact. I read somewhere, and I write it down, that Scotland has the shortest scheduled flight in the world. Do you know
yes,
that?
I think I do know that.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's, you see, it's 1.5 miles
I
long
don't know.
from Westray to Papa Westray in the Orkney Island of Scotland.
Okay.
The journey takes 1 minute 14 seconds to complete.
Wow.
So usually you have to go to the airport 2 hours before.
Yes.
You have to wait half an hour luggage. But for the flight, 1 minute and 14 seconds.
Everything in Scotland tends to be a little bit smaller, as you can tell. But smaller is beautiful.
Yes, I like it.
Yes.
Next time I go and visit Scotland, I definitely try this airline.
You must do.
I think it will be most expensive probably in the world, but anyway, it's worth it. Okay, Graham, you have said that you have a best job in the world. What do you mean?
Yeah, well, that's the theme. That's the theme of my presentation this morning. I think marketing generally is probably one of the best jobs in the world, just in terms of what we do. We create business success. We drive business. We drive value. It's creative. you work with terrific people, and you make things. You promote social causes as well. You know, one of the case studies I'll show later on is promoting democracy, or whether it's health issues. So the importance of powerful communication. You know, it's a mixture of art and science. So I think marketing generally is a fantastic, you know, and I think we need to promote ourselves. We need to be more confident about what we do. People are sometimes embarrassed about calling themselves marketers in a way that a doctor or a pilot or a lawyer or accountant, you know, they're all quite proud to say what they are. But if you work in marketing, you say, well, I kind of work in marketing. And we're not proud enough or bold enough to describe what it is. So I think that, personally, yes, I mean, my presentation this morning is a little bit self-indulgent, and I talk about my own career and what I've done, but, you know, I've been to many countries. I met you in Brazil, you know, Julie and I were in Hong Kong, fantastic dinners, meeting great people, and talking about ideas, talking about marketing ideas. You get so much inspired when you see some of the case studies that come out from a very simple idea. So I do think that I probably have the best job in the world.
So, as I understand, you get the motivation from other people, so you don't...
Absolutely.
Yeah, and try to motivate yourself.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It inspires you.
So it means that you have been in the marketing like 35 years, so it means that you're
Thank you.
still not tired, or...
Are you saying I'm old? Because
Uh,
that is also true.
Not
my
strictly.
secret for remaining, I suppose, excited and interested. Well, one, in terms of age, you have to avoid two things. One is mirrors, and the other is friends. Whenever I meet my friends from school or university, I say, God, they are looking so old. And it just reminds me of how old I am, so I avoid those things. But I think if you're in love, you don't get tired. I love what I do. I love marketing. I'm passionate about it. I love it as much now as I did when my first job. I wouldn't like to think I'm obsessive. I love other things. I love my wife. I love my family. I have 4 sons. So I never, they always came first. Family and my sons. I never missed one game of football that they played. I maybe didn't go to all the school meetings I might have done, but so I love football. I play football twice a week, Wednesday night and Saturday morning. And every time, my wife says to me, at your age, one day you'll fall over and you'll have a heart attack. And I say to her every time, I say, well, if that happens, I'll die a happy man. I can't imagine a better, especially if I just scored a goal, which doesn't happen that much these days. But if I score a goal and if I was to die of a heart attack, then that would be a great way to go.
Dream, you have very interesting presentation today. So,
I hope so. Okay,
stage is
fantastic.
yours.
Thank you. Okay, well, thank you for inviting me. So that's who I am. My name is Graham Arthur. It's an Irish name, Aasta. I don't know if you can pronounce that in Estonian, Aasta and Aasta. And I'm going to talk about inspiring, bolder marketing leadership, but I'm going to get into that in a little while. I mean, obviously, the big reason why we're here today is to celebrate 10 years of Imagine. I remember, I was only thinking about this yesterday, I had my own agency. And I remember our 10th birthday party, and if anybody wants to hear the story, I'll tell it later on because it's a long story, but it's probably the craziest day of my life and probably the wildest night of my life. You know, when you're young and you're in an agency, then it's just such the most fantastic time. So congratulations on that. I have some gifts for you, which I'd like to Helen and to Margot. Oops.
Üks asi, et kui teil on küsimusi, et siis saatke endiselt margo@imagine.ee meilile kõik küsimused.
I have 2 of my sponsors. As you might be surprised, this is whiskey. This is called the Cutty Sark, and I'll be talking about this later on, so that is for you. You can absolutely serve this, indeed. And this, I'll show the next slide, is...
Famous Grouse.
The Famous Grouse. The Famous Grouse is the biggest whiskey in the UK, and it's one of my clients. I worked for him for many years. But this is a very special bottle. It says the famous Imagine. So that's your own bottle there.
Wow.
And it's that's for Margaret and Helen and the team for 10 years of imagination. It's great to be part of something great. So there you are.
Thank you very much.
Helen, happy birthday. Okay, this is what I'll cover, if I can stay. Right, okay. So the best job in the world. The subtitle is My Life in Advertising and Alcohol. I'm not an alcoholic. I do enjoy alcohol. But I guess when I was writing the presentation, there's a lot of drink and alcohol that I've been involved in a professional capacity. I am a professional marketer. I represent the Marketing Society. Not that they would endorse that particular promotion, but I'll tell you about that in a little bit later. And then finally, there are going to be some prizes to be won, and I'll tell you about the Pioneering Spirit Awards, which is the third part of my presentation. So 3 parts. The first part is self. It's about me. So sorry about that. I'm going to tell you about Scotland and Edinburgh. Has anybody been to Scotland? Yes? 1 or 2? Okay. Well, let me tell you a little bit about Scotland. Actually, first, I've got lots of stuff here. I've got lots of whiskey here. So Scotland recently, in the Lonely Planet survey last week, it came number 3 as the best place in the world to visit. The first question is, who do you think came number 1? What was the country that was the voted the best place to visit? What would you guess? It's a very quiet audience. I'm going to help you with this first one, but from here on in, if you answer a question, you get a bottle of whiskey. It's not Israel, it's Brazil, actually. Brazil was number 1. So, and we met in Brazil, so we know what a fantastic country it is. Like Edinburgh's a beautiful city. It has a castle, it has a palace, we now have a government. It's probably more like a theme park than it is than a proper city. For me, it's fantastic because it's got so much golf. I love golf. Most people in Scotland play golf. And within 15 minutes of my house, there are 20 fantastic golf courses. Within 5 minutes walk of my house is my own golf course. So I spend a lot of time in the golf course, working all the time, obviously, thinking about ideas. But Edinburgh, if you've not been, you must visit. So there's 2 main cities in Scotland. The other one is Glasgow. It's only 50 kilometres along the M8, the motorway that connects the two. Entirely different city. It's a proper city. It's got big buildings and blocks, and it's an industrial city. Okay, so the first bottle of whiskey to be won tonight is, what is the name of the river in the middle of Glasgow? All you have to do is shout. The name of the river, this river here, centre of Glasgow. Does anybody know the name? And the UK audience don't count. Does nobody know the river? No. Okay. I keep all the whiskey. You have to earn the whiskey. It's the Clyde, the River Clyde. Now, the other big thing about Glasgow, which is the football team. This is my football team. It's Glasgow Celtic. This is a famous team. This team is the team that was the first team to win the European Cup, the first British team to win the European Cup. It was 1967, quite a long time ago, but we're very proud of this team. I don't know, does anybody know the name of that team? It was given a name. Well, actually, you will not win a whiskey from me, I'm afraid. No, they were known as the Lisbon Lions. They played in Lisbon, they beat Inter Milan. It was a fantastic match. And the great thing about this team here is that every single one of the 11 players were from Glasgow. You know, within 15 minutes of Glasgow. Isn't that remarkable when you think of the teams now from all the nationalities, from Brazil, from Argentina? This team, every one of them, all 11, came from Glasgow. So we're very proud of the Lisbon Lions. Anyway, I want to do the first campaign I'm going to show you. It's actually it's one of our competitors in Scotland. It's an agency called Leith Agency. And this one in Cannes, it's very unusual for a Scottish agency to go down to Cannes and win one of the Lions, but this campaign won it. And the reason I'm showing it is really just to give you a sense of the sense of humour that Scotland has. It's very self-deprecating. We have a laugh at ourselves. And it's based on the idea Scotland used to have a reasonably good football team. Now we don't qualify for anything. We don't qualify for Europe or for the World Cup. So the idea behind this is if we get Scottish people to have babies with Brazilians, they would create a football team capable of winning the World Cup in 2034. So a long-term strategy. That's the idea behind this campaign. So if you understand it and you understand the humour, then the rest of the presentation should be okay.
Iron Brew, Scotland's national soft drink, were looking for an idea to capture the imagination of Scots during the World Cup in South Africa. But our national team missed out on qualification again. So we came up with a campaign to encourage single Brazilians to come over to Scotland to have our babies and make us magic at football. It's World Cup glory guaranteed in 2034. We kicked off with an appeal to the good people of Brazil, placing personals ads in a national newspaper. We flew a banner along Copacabana Beach and put up posters around Rio. In the week running up to the World Cup itself, we recruited Scottish footballing legend Archie Gemmill to launch the campaign over here. At the same time, the official website went live with details of the story, a Brazil blog, chances to win some 2034 team kit, and a series of online films following the campaign. The Brazilians started coming. It wasn't long before babies were on the way.
Hush, little Pelly, lay down to nap. We're gonna make you a Scotland cap.
Developments in gardens across the country.
Look into Daddy, go.
Archie even got in on the act.
Mi nome é Archie.
Vamos fazer bebê?
Vamos fazer bebê.
And we caught a glimpse of the future.
And Robert Senior returns from injury to partner David Acosta, Aberdeenio and Golden Boy Flavio McFadden up front.
We then teamed up with The Sun and the News of the World and gave away a campaign handbook containing useful phrases and a feijoada supper recipe. The Sun even went to Brazil to cover the story. We also put up projections in Glasgow city centre. The fans went wild, and the campaign scored a month of press coverage, from the tabloids right through to the broadsheets. We'll lift the cup in 2034. It's going to be phenomenal.
I should have. Thank you. Don't clap too loud. It was one of my competitor agencies who made that, so whilst I admire it, I don't want you to be too enthusiastic. The actual brand behind it, there's a couple of icon brands in Scotland. It's called Iron Brew, and it's actually, we refer to it as our other national drink. Obviously, the national drink is whiskey, but this is called the other national drink, and it's a bit like Tizer. It's a unique taste. Anyway, you can win this can. Taste it if you want. I'm going to ask one question. The character, the football player, the old guy, is a guy called Archie Gemmill, and he scored one of the best World Cup goals ever. Sorry if this is for football supporters, but if you can tell me which World Cup, which year, which World Cup did Archie Gemmill score his famous goal? Julian's a football supporter. You're not allowed to enter this. Non-UK resident. Which World Cup was it? No, my goodness.
1986.
1978. What was 1978?
86.
78.
70.
Argentina. Argentina was when Archie Gemmill scored against Holland, and it's just, well, maybe it's only in Scotland, but we think it's one of the best goals ever. Anyway, okay, so right, back to me. Okay, my first ever job, this is another fabric brand. This is one of the icons, Iron Brew, of course, Famous Grouse, and Tennent's. These are the three big brands in Scotland. So the first job I ever had coming out of university was brand manager Tennent's. It was in Glasgow. I was at university in Glasgow, and the reason I got the job was I wrote in my application I wanted to be a brand manager. And at the time, they didn't have a brand manager. They didn't know what it meant. So the guy in personnel, in HR, when he saw that somebody wanted to be one of the things that they were looking to get, I got the job because I wanted to be a brand manager. So I worked. And so day one, I arrived. I got a company car, got the keys for a car. I was given a beer allowance every month. I got a case of beer. And the first job that I had, day one, was to help select models to go on the back of a can. This is how we used to promote back in the 70s, this is. We used to put, they look ridiculous now, but that's the way we used to promote Tennent's Lager. So that was my first job. So wow, my friends were accountants and lawyers and engineers, and this is what I was doing for my job. I had to look at pictures of models and pick them out, and pick clothes and things. But within a couple of years, I got a big break. I got a big opportunity. Tennent's Lager was a very famous brand, and we launched a new beer. You refer to it as an ale. So this is a lager, a pilsner, and we launched a big ale product. It's called Tennent's Special. It was the biggest beer launch ever in Scotland. It was very exciting, and the challenge I had to do, ale is normally drunk by old men, and we had to reposition it a young audience, a more sociable. So we need to take a lager approach to promote an ale. And actually, this is the first time I've ever presented it, I only found it on YouTube last week. It's called Tenant Special. It's a launch campaign, and it's very grainy. It's from the 1980s. But I don't know. Let me know what you think about it. This is my ad. This is my baby, and it's very it was very important to me. And I was aged 23, 24, and I was responsible for creating this ad.
What's this, Harry?
That's Tenant Special, lads.
Tenant Special? Okay, we'll give it a try. Tenant Special? It's all right.
Tenant Special. We think you'll like it.
We're very understated in Scotland. So the other reason I loved that ad was because we're based in Glasgow, Tenants are based in Glasgow, but we always use London agencies for all the work we did in our brands. So the first time ever, we used an agency based in Edinburgh to do that ad, and that was great as far as I was concerned, because it showed that an agency in Scotland could create a big ad that we normally go down to London for. But I was 23, 24, and I'm working as a film director, with dancers and beautiful women and in a studio in London. It was just very exciting. Anyway, that's so I then I got headhunted, and I went down to London. I worked on this brand here, one of the best, I suppose one of the best innovations, new product innovations. There's certainly been in the drinks market, Bailey's, and fantastic time in London, great brand. The title says the original Irish Dream, and the reason why that is with a question mark is because actually I had a bit of a nightmare, because I was responsible for creating a new TV campaign for Bailey's. Sadly, I couldn't even find it on YouTube, but it was called the original Irish Dream. And it was the most expensive ad that Bailey's had ever produced. In fact, the company who was then IDV, now Diageo, was the most expensive ad they'd ever produced. And it lasted less than a year. It was so bad. It was a ship flying through the sky. It was a dream sequence. And it was appalling. But what it did, it was a London agency. It was Y&R. I don't mind naming and shaming. And it just exposed me to corporate culture, politics, big agencies versus small agencies. Nobody making decisions. You would never get to see the creative people. It was always suits you met. And it was just a very, very frustrating experience. And so I decided to leave the world of advertising and brand marketing. And I moved on. So the next thing I did was I was an entrepreneur. My father was an entrepreneur. He owned his own business. I wanted to have my own business. And I'd fallen in love with brands. You'll know this brand. It's a magazine, a French magazine. But I took this name and I built my own business. I built a bar and a restaurant in my local town of Carmarthen. These are some old photographs. I also followed my heart. I was in love. I was in London, but my then girlfriend, my now wife, was in Glasgow. So I was lovesick. So I followed my heart. But I also followed my business instinct. I knew that there was an opportunity in my hometown just south of Glasgow to open a bar and restaurant with a French theme. So this is me with the long hair, very, very 1980s, with my sister, and I had this my restaurant. And I even had, I got married in my own bar. I made a profit in my own wedding. Very Scottish. You call them stag nights or bachelor parties. That was my bachelor party in my own. I made a profit in my own bachelor party and my own wedding. We had the reception of my wedding with my wife. So that was my own brand. And I guess what that taught me was when you have your own business, like a bar or a restaurant, you're so dependent on people coming through the door every night. So it made me absolutely passionate about service. You know, I had to be witty and engaging and just serve people and be a personality for them. So that's stuck with me for the rest of my time. I having done that for 3 years, like Julian said, I felt I had to get a proper job again. You know, having run a bar and restaurant, I was 26 to 29. I thought I had to get back into the world of work by the proper job by the time I was 30. So I had the opportunity to buy an agency in Edinburgh. It was called the Burraloch. It's a consultancy. This is the launch beer that we produce. And carrying on the theme of alcohol, we actually were based in a brewery. That's an old brewery building right in the heart of Edinburgh. It's right on the Meadows. Meadows is a lovely park right in the centre of Edinburgh. And this is an old brewery building. So when we started, there was about maybe 6, 7 of us. And about 12 years later, there was about 70 of us. And we went from 1 floor up to, in fact, 2 or 3 rooms to we had the first 3 floors there. So, and it was the biggest agency in Scotland. We had fantastic clients, lots of them drinks, Scottish Newcastle beer and whiskey clients, tourism, finance, fantastic times. Best times of my life. So, you know, I remember the 10th birthday party we had, you know, as if it was yesterday. It was a fantastic time. However, these guys came along and offered me a lot of money. IPG, Interpublic Group, one of the biggest worldwide chains, and they saw what we're doing, they liked our clients, they liked our work, and they gave us a lot of money. And I have to say, I spent 3 years working for Americans, which is probably a low point of my, it wasn't a fantastic experience. It was never really going to last beyond 3 years. So, we eventually got it's a long story, but they eventually closed that office. The Americans decided it just didn't fit within their worldwide plans. It was just a bit odd for them to have. They didn't have anywhere in London. They had a place in Edinburgh. It was just strange. So they shut us down and they moved the office down to London. However, the last 10 years of my life, I've been chairman of this agency here. It's called Frame. It's based in Glasgow. We have a simple vision. It's to create something great. We measure that by being a great place to work for, and a great place to work with. So for clients, just have a great experience. It's also a great part of Glasgow. It's called the Merchant City. It's a really cool part of Glasgow. So it's fantastic. The people in Glasgow have got a great sense of humour, a great sort of sense of warmth. And having lived in Edinburgh for 20 years, it was just great to go back and reconnect to the people in Glasgow. I'm just going to show you a couple of things. One's a very small budget, and one's a big budget. One's a very simple idea. It's all about getting content from our customers. This is for the Scottish Rugby Union, the people who run rugby in Scotland. And it was just how do you get the people behind the team. It's a very short clip, and it was a viral that we produced. And the idea is just to get people to participate. It starts with the Scottish rugby captain, and it finishes with the Scotland rugby manager. So if you just show the film.
Like this, a perfect like that.
Okay, so that's a small, simple idea. This was the last ad that I was ever responsible for when I worked in agencies. And I guess I was part creative director, part account director. We had a real challenge. This brand is owned by Heineken. And there was a new phenomenon happened in Scotland, maybe, or in the UK, maybe it was about 8-10 years ago, and it was a cider. Do you have cider in Estonia? Cider is an alcoholic drink made out of apples. And it became a big, big thing, and it still is a big, big thing in the UK, because it was actually the consumer who invented the idea of pouring a cider into a large glass and filling it full of ice. So that presentation, that idea, just became a phenomenon, and it started in Ireland and then came into Scotland and rolled down through the whole of the UK. So it's huge. And there was one brand who dominated, it was called Magners from Dublin. And our challenge was, this is an English cider, we had to create a campaign as soon as possible. We were about 3 years behind, and we had to catch up as soon as possible. So we were given this brief, and we were based in Glasgow. The client was based in Edinburgh, but all the other brands that Heineken had were London agencies, worldwide agencies. But we were given the opportunity, because they needed something so quick, they said, well, let's give these guys a chance. So we pitched against St. Luke's from London, and it's one of those great things. The campaign, this cider had been especially produced to go with ice. So we came up with this campaign idea. It's called Born for Ice. And it's one of those magical moments when you pitch to a client, and as soon as you say Born for Ice and you show them the storyboard, I knew that we'd won it. I just knew from the body, just the way they reacted to the idea, the power of a big idea. And we were just, there wasn't loads of planners and creatives. We only had the one idea. Normally you pitch a big pitch like that, you maybe have 3, 4, 5 ideas. If you don't like this, we can give you this. We said, we are so confident, we're just going to show you one idea. The truth is, we didn't have any other ideas. All the other ideas we had were crap. So we had one which was fantastic, this one here. And Heineken have such an exhaustive research process that most ideas somehow get killed along the way. This one survived, but the idea behind it is a bottle of cider is like a fish. And the first part is filmed in Cuba, and you see a container ship, and all these bottles of cider fall out of a container. There's an accident, they fall into the sea. And when they fall into the sea, they just start to take life form, and they follow their natural instincts. And you see them ending up in a cool place, which is in Canada, with a bear trying to get a hold of them. And eventually they're taking out the water in Canada, and they have it with the line Born Free. Okay, so that was my last campaign, part of Frame. Recently I've just created my own consultancy. I suppose when you talk about being tired, there's 2 stages of my career I was a bit tired. One, when I worked for Americans. Nothing against Americans, it's just the culture and just the way they run business was just a bit, wasn't fantastic. And Frame I had so much great time there, but I was chairman the last few years. So all I did was attend management meetings. I wasn't involved in creative product, I wasn't involved with the team, the clients. So it just became a bit dull. I thought chairman would be one of the best jobs in the world because you wouldn't have to actually do anything. But actually, when you just attend management meetings, it just becomes a bit dull. So my own consultancy is called Crack, nothing to do with drugs. Crack in Scotland actually means good conversation, like banter. But it's also the initials of my 4 sons, Chris, Ryan, Ali, and Kieran. So that's my 4 sons, all golfers. And on the alcohol theme, this is my oldest son on the far right-hand side there. He's called Ali. And Ali has just become brand manager of Stella Artois, based in London. So he seems to be following his father's footsteps. So one of the clients I work on, Gonzalo works with me on this client. We're part of a brand council. Our enthusiasm is to make this a global brand. We want to take on Johnny Walker's. It's big in many countries, biggest in the UK, bigger than Johnny Walker in the UK. And in Sweden it's big, Russia it's big, various different markets, and we want to make it really world famous. And the campaign that we've come up with is it's be part of something famous. But it's not a conventional TV ad. It's a story that I'm going to show you a film, and it's really, because there's a lot of markets, Russia for example, where there's no advertising allowed whatsoever, it's a dark market, we have to do other things other than advertising. So the idea behind this is that because whiskey and Famous Grouse is a triumph of people coming together and collaborating and making something very special, we wanted to do the same in the world of art. So we created a sculpture, which you'll see in this film, which was a celebration of people coming together and making something in the same way that happens when you make whiskey. So let's see this film here.
As a blend, we're all about bringing things together, about creating something unique. So we assembled a team of artists and technologists, and added influences from people all over the world to make something everyone could be part of.
Okay, so that's my story. That's my indulgence. So I hope that wasn't too painful for you. But anyway, I'm now going to tell you. This is my professional hat on now. So I represent the Marketing Society. I spend 4 days with the Marketing Society and 1 day with my own clients. So we have a global vision. We want to build the leading global network of marketers. Julian, who spoke earlier, is part of the team that's helping us to do that. We launched in Hong Kong last month. We are looking for international members. I'm going to do a sales pitch at the end of this presentation, so I hope you've brought your checkbooks with you. And our mission is to inspire bolder marketing leadership. It's that simple. It's just to encourage people who work in marketing to be a bit bolder, a bit more proud of what they do, and to show leadership, because marketing needs to show leadership in the boardroom. I am based in Scotland, so the next slide. Should happen if I go like that. The next slide. That's it. Our local vision, from a Scotland point of view, is we want to build a world-leading community in Scotland. We can't say we're the biggest, we can't say we're the best, but what we are is we're pretty well connected. Scotland's a bit of a village. I would imagine it's not unlike Estonia, and everybody kind of knows each other. So we work with schools, promoting the value. We work with teachers. If you're a bright kid, and you're going to go to university, we don't say you must go to university to study marketing. You should go to university and study whatever you're passionate about. But what we do want to influence is that if you end up in a career in marketing, it's a pretty good place to end up. Most people end up in marketing. If you're going to be an accountant, a lawyer, or a pilot, or whatever else the profession is, you tend to go in that sort of particular route. People tend to end up in marketing. So we need to promote the value of marketing all the way from the classroom all the way through to the boardroom. Even in the boardroom, it's not fully understood. The accountants see it as a cost. Chief executive, you're often seen as being difficult to work with. We don't measure things as much as we could do. We're not very professional in the boardroom, and we need to get far more professional. So, and also from a Scotland point of view, we're going to promote Scotland as a great place to study. We've got fantastic universities, we've got a good reputation for academics. So it's a great place to study, it's a great place to work. Certainly from a lifestyle point of view, but there's a strong business community there. And indeed invest in marketing for clients to think, well, you don't have to go to London or to Amsterdam to get great advertising. You can actually get it in Scotland. So that's our local vision. We just launched this year. It's a manifesto. It's important that marketing define what we do. At least its definition is, you probably can't read that, but to create sustainable growth by understanding, anticipating, and satisfying customer need. So, we just need to evolve how we actually describe what marketing is, because I bet you if I was to ask everybody in this room, they'd have a different answer to what is marketing. And the key challenges, three key pillars. One is to pursue the purpose. Organizations need to have a central purpose. Be customer champions. You need to be the voice to the customer in the boardroom. And to mobilize the organization, get the organization behind what you do. So it's all on the website, but we have a manifesto. We have a lot of big events. This is a world-class event. It's in the 21st of November. It's in the Opera House in Covent Garden. And then at night there's a big party at the Roundhouse in Camden. World-class events. The week after we have our own one in Scotland. It's the St Andrew's Day dinner, which will be in Edinburgh. And we have our digital clubhouse. This is again, I would like to think it's a world-class website. Lots of fantastic resources, video content there, award case studies, just a lot of good content. So that's our website. Next slide. Okay, back to ideas. Okay, why we love marketing, why I think marketing is the best job in the world. This fantastic combination of magic and logic, and we absolutely love the magic. You heard some magic from Julian, and the project I've been involved in is all about trying to understand what makes a big idea. There's a guy called Doug Hall. He's speaking at the conference in London next week. He's the master inventor, or he was, at P&G in Cincinnati. He now has a place called Eureka Ranch. And he's an economist. He likes to measure things, and this is his formula. He calls it the universal law of creativity. In terms of how do you get great ideas. Well, it's a combination of two things. You multiply stimulus with diversity. So stimulating environment, stimulating people. You get out of the office. You drink lots of whiskey or coffee or wine or whatever it is to stimulate you, and then you mix with a diversity group of people, a diverse group. If you're a bunch of bankers talking about new ideas in banking, you just won't get anywhere. If you involve an architect, a lawyer, a sportsman, a poet, a philosopher, then you get an amazing array of ideas. So diversity, and that's why conferences like this are really important. You hear diverse people, you hear diverse ideas, and that's how you get the big idea. But all of this is reduced by the fear factor. The fear of getting things wrong, of losing money, of losing face, of being embarrassed. So that's, you've got to reduce fear. So the final thing I want to talk about is it's another whiskey brand. It's Cutty Sark, and they pay me to go around the world talking about great marketing ideas with great people. It's not a bad job. And the reason why we did it, because we have a set of awards in Scotland called the Star Awards, and it's about promoting excellence in Scotland, but it was really important we just don't look in the way, that we get inspired by looking out the way. So I got involved with Cutty Sark, another client of mine, and they put some money into this. And what they wanted to get out of it is they wanted to present Cutty Sark hasn't really been invested in for about 20 years. It used to be a huge whiskey, particularly in the USA. And they wanted to breathe life into Cutty Sark again. So they wanted to have it associated with professional people who work in marketing, opinion formers, people who are creative. So it gets a reputation of being a brand that's associated with success and creative people. So this is my ad for them. This is it's not an ad. It's just a brand film that just demonstrates how they want Cutty Sark to be positioned.
Cutty Sark is a Scotch whisky, but we're not defined by the Highlands of Scotland or some dusty old barrels. It's not about the size of our stills or fancy crystal decanters. This isn't about history or tradition, obeying rules, or being a whisky geek. This is a whisky for everyone. Welcome to Cutty Sark, an easy drinking, smooth whisky. Say hello to just going with the flow, to enjoying the perfect mix of drinks, friends, and attitude. Life is short. It's about who you're with and what you do, not how much it costs. Our actions define who we are, so don't play by the rules. Write your own.
Okay, well, I'll feed that back to my client. He'll be delighted. So the brand idea is a spirit of adventure. It was created in 1920. It's an unusual whiskey. It doesn't come from Scotland. It comes from London, and it was produced by wine merchants. So they wanted a whiskey that was light in colour, easy to drink, easy mixed. And it became a huge, it was actually planned, at the time there was prohibition in the USA, so they were entrepreneurs and they saw the opportunity. As soon as prohibition finishes, then they'll be first to market. And in fact, it became a really big brand during prohibition because it was smuggled into to the USA. So if you see lots of movies like Boardwalk Empire or even Mad Men or Goodfellas, you often see Cutty Sark there because it was the brand of the moment in the 1950s. And it was the first brand to sell over 1 million cases there. The name comes from a ship, which is based in London, but also the actual name Cutty Sark comes from a Robert Burns poem, a famous Scottish poet. Anyway, that's the story behind Cutty Sark. Enough of an ad. The awards, it's all about inspiring bold and market leadership. It's about looking for ideas across the world that won awards and having a discussion about them, what makes them such a great idea. So we've had dinners. We started in Glasgow, but last year we were in Berlin, we were in London, we were in Porto Madrid, New York. I met these guys. I met Margot and Anika in Sao Paulo. Julie and I were in Hong Kong and Istanbul over the last couple of months. And so we now have a panel of judges of over 100 senior marketing people and creative people, and we get together and we discuss what a big idea. And we share 10 ideas every 3 months, and then at each dinner we shortlist them down to, we just say which is the best 5 out of these 10. The criteria, so that was a photograph of us all enjoying dinners. That was Amo, amazing restaurant in Hong Kong. We were at a fantastic restaurant in Brazil, Sao Paulo, called DOM. So had some great times. Anyway, this is, okay, I've got lots of whiskey here to be won. Okay, and I've only got 5 more minutes. So this is the competition time. So we asked our judges to use this criteria about defining and scoring a big idea. Is it inspiring? Is it bold? Is it leading? Is it well executed? And is it likely to be effective? Those are the 5 things. We asked people to score them. And then the final thing we asked them, does anybody know who David Ogilvy is? You obviously know who David Ogilvy is, the most famous guy in advertising in the world ever. And guess what? He was a Scot. He wasn't actually Scot. He liked to pretend he was a Scot. Lots of people do. Rod Stewart, for example, not a Scot, but he likes to pretend. Well, David Ogilvy used to walk about Madison Avenue with a kilt. And he had red hair once upon a time. And he created the expression, the big idea. And the way he defined the big idea is it must make you feel something. There needs to be a physical reaction. You need to get excited. It needs the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. You get goose pimples. You get physical. And you really wish you had come up with the idea. That's how he defined it. Now, the competition is, I'm going to show you 3 ads. No, there are 3 case studies, all entirely different from each other. And the way you win whiskey here is you've got to guess what the order of ranking was. Which ones do you think was scored the highest, second highest, and third highest? Okay, so that's the competition, and there's a bottle of whiskey to be won. Okay, and I don't want to go back to Scotland with whiskey, that would be wrong. So, 3 ads, and then we'll talk about them.
Tonight, you will all go to bed and lay your head on that pillow you've loved for so long. But over time, your pillow grows an entire ecosystem made up of your dead skin cells and the things that feed on them. The older it is, the worse it gets. It's why at Tontine, we stamp our pillows with the date we think you should change them, so you'll know when they're fresh or not so fresh anymore. Visit tontine.com.au.
Next one.
We triggered a hot public debate by changing the well-known ROM overnight from this to this. The new ROM came with its own launch campaign, in English.
We Americans know about stars. We have stars on our flag. We reached the stars when we put a man on the moon. Now, ROM's a star too. How? We replaced the Romanian flag with the American one, so Romanians can shine on too. Try the new ROM with the American flag with the taste of cooler. Hello again! Rumor has it you're not at all happy with the American flag on ROM. It was a joke. I'm just funny. ROM stays ROM no matter what. Romanian flag and all.
So three entirely different ideas. Tontine pillows, putting a date stamp on the pillow. Very brave thing to do. Invented a problem you just didn't know you had. Ben Ali, majorly important. The voting intention was, this is just a year or so after he was deposed, then in the next election they were expecting about a 20% turnout. It was just unbelievable. So they had to remind people just how bad it was under his regime, and as a result of this campaign, which all of the media, 80% people voted. So hugely important democratic requirement. And then finally the American Rom Bar. Well, how a bold thing to do, to take your national flag off and put the stars and the stripes. It caused such a reaction in Romania. It'd be the same in Scotland. If I was to put the Union Jack on that, it would cause outrage in Scotland. Not that we don't love the English, but it's just one of our national treasures, and to put anything other than Scotland, and that would be wrong. So that's it. So this is when you get a chance to win a bottle of whiskey. So I want you to put your hand up if you think tontine pillows is the best idea there. Goodness. Put your hand up if you think the Ben Ali campaign was the best. Okay. And put your hand up if you think the American Rom Bar was the best. Okay. So we have one person there. American Rom Bar won it, actually, so surprisingly. But you don't count down here, I'm afraid. So I have a bottle of whiskey for you. What? I'm from Scotland. What do you think on me the money? Yeah. What you do is you get a mug. Because Cutty Sark was big in Prohibition in the USA, they used to drink the whiskey in a mug, so they disguised that they were drinking whiskey. So congratulations, well done. And to finish off, just this is where we are in 2014. I'm going to show you last chance to win some whiskey. And indeed, probably better, the mug itself is maybe even a better prize. 3 more campaigns, and for you to decide which one do you think got the most votes from our international panel.
The Space Shuttle Endeavour had flown 25 missions to outer space. When it was retired, it was flown on a custom 747 to Los Angeles, on its way to the California Science Center. It was then placed on a heavy-duty dolly system designed to navigate the streets of LA. But after traveling 122 million miles, the one thing the Shuttle Endeavour couldn't do was cross the 405 freeway.
Houston, we have a problem.
The motorized dolly was too heavy for the bridge, so we proposed that they tow it across with a stock Toyota Tundra straight off the lot. But first, we had to convince NASA, Boeing, the California Transit Authority, and the city of Los Angeles that we could do it. Then we announced our plans to the world via PR and social media, and the reaction was immediate.
How is Endeavour going to get across this bridge? They're going to tow it with a pickup truck.
We fueled the conversation on blogs, Twitter, and our own website, and created a series of documentary films that chronicled the event. We created a tweet drive that raised over $400,000 for the museum.
We have a live look at Endeavour right now, and right in front of it is a Toyota Tundra.
Thousands of people have lined the streets in Inglewood to see this majestic sight.
Endeavour ready. Tundra ready. 3, 2, 1.
It's starting to roll right across that bridge.
You can see that Tundra really pulling it.
And the crowds are just emotional.
In the end, Tundra had proven its capability, and the Space Shuttle Endeavour had completed its final mission.
Amaro, não tem comparação torcida, não tem. O resto é resto, o esporte é tudo.
Primeiro Deus, segundo esporte, terceira família e quarto trabalho.
prometo que os seus olhos vão continuar assistindo o esporte.
Que os seus pulmões continuarão respirando pelo esporte.
Prometo que o seu coração sempre baterá pelo esporte.
Hoje a maior dificuldade que existe no processo de doação é o sim da família.
Eu sou rubro-negra até depois de morrer, irmão. Ter a alma é rubro-negra.
Ainda mais se quando eu doar meus órgãos, meu pulmão for pro cara do Náutico, torcedor do Náutico, ele vai respirar o esporte.
A campanha atingiu números impressionantes. 51 mil torcedores se declararam doadores, uma quantidade superior à capacidade da Ilha do Retiro.
A campanha do esporte, eu não tenho dúvida alguma que serviu para que, aumentando a oferta de doadores, a gente conseguisse zerar essa lista, conseguisse realizar realmente transplante em todos que estavam precisando.
Uma campanha de doação de órgãos lançada pelo esporte está ajudando a salvar a vida de muitos torcedores.
Antes do vídeo, eu tinha passado 18 anos de diabético e 5 anos fazendo hemodiálise. E a vida só está melhorando, minha visão está voltando aos pouquinhos. Eu renasci de novo.
Doutor Rodrigo ligou para mim e disse: olha, a gente tem um provável coração para sua mãe. Você pode trazer ela? Eu disse: com certeza. Fiquei aliviado de saber que eu ainda iria poder ter ela.
Vamos continuar fazendo o esporte e vamos aí, torcida do esporte, vamos doar. Nós vamos tomar essa corrente, né? Não vamos mais parar.
There once was a library, a beautiful, busy, award-winning library. Unfortunately, times were hard. The city of Troy, Michigan no longer had enough money for its library, so it scheduled a vote asking the townspeople to approve a small tax increase. This angered an anti-tax group known as the Tea Party. Well-organized and well-funded, they started posting Vote No signs, mailing flyers, and making noise. They dominated the conversation, changing the topic from library, books, and reading to taxes, taxes, taxes. With no money and an election less than a month away, the library needed help. They needed something attention-getting, audacious, maybe even vile. So we decided to form a group of our own and started planting signs around town that said, "Vote to close the library August 2nd, book burning party August 5th. The idea of book burning is bad enough, but gleefully making it a party, well, that angered people enough to send them to our Facebook page.
You people are sick. This is disgusting. Reject the wackos. Vote yes.
But we didn't stop there. We created videos.
Imagine this times 200,000. How cool is that?
Posted on Twitter.
The Troy Library might be short on money, but it has books to burn.
Created items for sale.
A book bag. How ironic.
We placed newspaper ads, created check-ins, posted flyers, and lined up entertainment.
You guys are booking a band?
People became enraged.
Why would you burn books, idiots?
This is horrible.
Cheap imbeciles.
What the is this world coming to?
We should burn your signs instead.
Complete and total
this
idiots.
is really just pathetic.
Jerks.
They posted their own links, shared with friends, debated the merits of libraries and the audacity of burning books. The conversation spread from Facebook to city council meetings, from newspapers to TV. It grew from local to national, even international news. Once it reached a fevered pitch, we revealed the true intent of our campaign. A vote against the library is like a vote to burn books. And people started posting, tweeting, and reporting all over again. In the end, we had changed the conversation completely, from taxes, 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 to library, library, library. And on August 2nd, the yes voters, voters who don't normally turn out to vote, turned out at levels 342% greater than projected. and the library won by a landslide. The town's library, its beautiful, award-winning library, had been saved. Not every story at the library has a happy ending. Fortunately, this one did.
So you have it, 3 fantastic ideas, Toyota Tundra, the world event, and having just react in the speed it did to get a fantastic brand message across was amazing. A hugely emotional campaign from Brazil. I mean, how to make organ donation exciting, and to see the passion and the enthusiasm and the success of that was remarkable. And then just a simple campaign to keep a library open, a local library open. But what a wonderful idea. So anyway, remember the competition here is to guess of our esteemed judges throughout the world, which one do you think scored the highest? So hands up if you think it was Toyota. Only one at the back. Organ donation, Brazil. Okay, a smattering. So the Detroit Library, hands up. So quite a few. I just don't have that amount of whiskey. So keep your hands up. So keep your hands up if you think in second place it was the Toyota campaign. Okay. You're wrong. So it's the second one. So first Detroit and second organ donation. Who thought that? How many? How many have we got? What? Okay, I've got half a dozen. 1, 2. One down here. You don't count. You've got your whiskey. That's greedy. And one over here as well. Okay, it has to be a bit of a tiebreaker then. So, first to react, or closest to it, Celtic Football Club, the best football club in the world, won the European Cup in which year? What? 70? Anybody else? 67, well done. Bye on. Sorry. Yeah. Well done. Thank you. So, that's just for, sorry, I forgot my ad. My final ad. Last slide is my pitch. Last slide. Okay, if you want to become a member of the Marketing Society, we have international membership. Be part of this global network. You get to be part of the panel. You get to score these ideas. We send you 10 every 3 months. And if we ever get invited back to Tallinn, we'll have a dinner here. There's world-class digital resources. Obviously, a lot of the events happen in London, the UK. There's lots of great case studies, great digital resource there. Only costs £100, I guess 120 euros, something like that. That's my email address. Please contact me if you're interested. That's the website. Go and have a look at that. But thank you very much for your time. If you want to hear any more of that, I'm here at the party tonight. And I hope you're inspired to be bolder marketing leaders. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Graham. Unfortunately, we have run out a little bit of time. So whoever has questions to Graham, you can ask later in the party or after that. So small gift for you.
Thank you very much indeed.
Me teeme nüüd jälle, Graham. Me teeme nüüd jälle 5-minutilise reklaamipausi ja olge hea, et võtke veel kohvi ja karastusjooke. Ja siis oleme umbes 5 minuti pärast tagasi, kus lavale tuleb Mart Lubi, kes räägib meile sõnumite edastamisest. Nautige!